But hello, just coming back for another video talking about pornography, but I feel like what I had talked about before was a little faint to the iceberg that is pornography. And when we begin to talk about this stuff, we have to understand, why is it a negative? Why does it have a negative effect? And what sort of things happen, and what sort of things take place in our bodies that cause us to have things such as anxiety or depression. Now, understanding that when consuming stuff that gives you a release of serotonin, it also gives you a release of dopamine. Now, dopamine is we have receptors in our brain that take in this dopamine, and this is from gratification. Now, gratification is fulfilled through actions that will appease you, essentially. Now, there are positive dopamine rushes, and you can form these kinds of rushes through different various activities, but pornography is one of them. Self-pleasure is one of them. And it is sort of like a drug in a sort of sense, because when those dopamine rushes start to die down, you begin to want more of it, or you will feel a feeling of black, basically. And understanding yourself and understanding your relationship with the pornography, you will want to dive back into it simply for that feeling. Now, as you digress into it more and more and more and more, simply because it has become a habit, the habit is gaining these rushes of dopamine. You begin to, when not indulging, you begin to feel a sort of it is more like a missing piece. And with that piece missing, it's sort of like you have lost a piece of yourself. You're not where you want to be. You're not who you are. These feelings can become and evolve into different things. And this can be anxiety, depression, and a multitude of other mental defects. And once that is set in, it is a very hard hole to dig out. The sort of discipline and the sort of care that you need in order to break these habits and evolve from them it's immense. And depending on the verity of your indulgence, it'll either take more care or less. And some people can find it a lot easier to steadfast from those kinds of draws. And for some people, it's a lot harder as well. So, with that being said, you have to understand the importance of knowing your limits and knowing what these things will do. Because I think sometimes we can't understand, but the lack of care that we have towards truly embodying what understanding is, it's something that you can only experience, something that you can only really wish you would stay away from. Again, I'm more so talking about my experience, but right now, currently, there's a lot of things flying through my mind when speaking about this, because I truly don't think a lot of us understand the effects and the sort of harm that it will bring if we don't come to understand ourselves and don't come to appreciate what it is we call life. And if you don't understand, then you only dig yourself deeper. And to be honest, it's a very emotional topic. Just knowing what a lot of people are going through, you know. And it hurts me just even talking about it, and it truly does pain me, but the guilt and the shame, it can only be bared for so long. So when I say this, understand that there is much more to life and much more to existence than appeasing to your physical body and appeasing to your self-pleasure. I think this topic kind of encumbers a lot of addictions and just struggles in general. You will get to a point where you will just become tiresome of engaging in this sort of harm. And there's only two ways out. And I think you can think of the two. The route I took was acceptance. Now, these two choices, they don't make you better than any other person who has to choose between the two. It is just a simple decision. And once you understand that, life will become a lot easier and it'll become way more bearable. So I just want to say this is it for that video, or this video. And I hope you've been able to take something away at least. And thank you for watching, if anyone does. But if I could leave a last little message, understand yourself. Don't become a victim of habit, or at least the wrong habits. But bye-bye.